Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Alt Conversations. I have with me a returning guest. His name is Todd Baker from 1989 Theology. It is an honor to have him on here for the first time. We have several things to discuss here. Trump's betrayal, seemingly, of the American people and his base. And then later on, we're going to get into getting active, some IRL groups, and what can you be doing in real life? What should you be doing? But yeah, I'm very thankful to him. He sort of kind of was the motivating force to get me to start doing a show. I enjoyed the show that I did with him, and it just made me think I kind of want to do my own thing and kind of put my thoughts out there. So many thanks to him. So before we get started, Todd, did you want to say anything?
I figured I'd pull a little joke on you and be Helen Keller again. Since the last time I was on your channel, I got, Helen Kellered in the corner.
Yeah, no audio. That was
No audio.
unfortunate.
No audio. Yeah, that was a great conversation. Wish I could have been a part of it. But no, man, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Guys, we got a lot of overlapping, viewers and everything. So I'm Todd, 1989 Theology. Y'all know me. Thanks for having me on, dude. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I think it's gonna be good. I've watched a lot of or actually all of your worldview series, and I think you laid out a lot of good stuff, honestly. And I'm kind of honored what you said just a minute ago. I am kind of honored to be able to get you going, because when you came on my channel, I could just tell immediately, like, yeah, this guy needs to do it. And you started it, and I'm getting a lot out of your worldview series, and I think a lot of people are too. So I want you to keep that up. But I want last episode, I was like, man, don't, like, you're gonna take a break. Like, no, don't take a break. I need some more. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a few problems. First, um, I'm switching jobs, so I'm trying to finish this massive project I'm doing, and I'm going to be working overtime like every day for the rest of the year. I just have no time whatsoever to even think about that. And then the
Well,
other
that's fair.
point, right? The other thing too is it's kind of like a deep dive, sort of kind of deep dive on very specific topics, and there's only so many topics, like very broad general categories you can do that with until it's like, okay, now I might have to be doing specific reactions to political events and whatnot. I only have a few more ideas left to go. Maybe I can think of some in the meantime, but yeah, it does take a decent amount of work to get all your thoughts together and kind of lay them out in like a structured way, and then I try to do it recording all at once, and that's also a pain. Not that I have done a lot of those in one take, but just doing it in a single day with how many times like I I mess up or want to change a part, like it is a lot of work with everything else going on. But
Yeah, I
so it
mean,
kind of
I get that. People don't understand, like, there's a lot to just actually putting out even just audio only, like, just uh, forming your sentences, making it sound coherent. You might record for, like, I don't know, for me, like, I'll record for like 45 minutes and then I'll upload something that's like 20, because like, I'll lose my train of thought. I'll just pause and you just keep it going. Because if you do it in second day or like different days, it sounds weird, I think.
right. Well, and I have this thing where I actually have an easier time doing the videos. I've done it twice now. I can do a single take video. I can't do a single take audio because I'm way more of a perfectionist with the audio than I am with the video. Like, I just think I overthink things too much when it's just the audio. But
That makes a lot of
um,
sense to me. That makes a lot of sense.
it's almost like in the video, I'm kind of like paying attention to the video, and my mind is on autopilot, and I'm just saying things. Whereas,
Very
like,
much so.
if I'm just speaking on the audio, like I'm hyper focused on everything that I'm saying, and I overthink it. But anyways,
Derailed. My bad.
no, you're good. I derailed it. I'm prone to rambling,
We both
which is
are.
good if you're gonna do this stuff, right?
Right? That's why we have podcasts, guys, because we just like to talk.
Well, I've gotten messages from people before. They say, "Don't worry about how long your videos are. Some of us need stuff to listen to while we're at work. So I'm like, I
That's
got to
me for
balance.
sure.
Yeah, I got to balance between guys who want multiple hours of content, but or guys who are only going to watch the video if it's 10 minutes long.
It's very frustrating. 'Cause me personally, I like 2, 3, 4 hours because I can just put it on and come back to it, and maybe go to lunch, come back, and still rock on listening to something. But most people like shorter videos. Anyway, we're way off track.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, so I wanted to start with obviously, like I said in the beginning, Trump. Man, there's been a lot of things in this first term that have been major, major disappointments, and I mean that's definitely an understatement to say disappointments. I mean, you have the Epstein files, you have the H-1B stuff, the legal immigration. I mean, it's just all over the place. Like I don't even know
You
where to
forgot
start.
bomb Iran. You forgot that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's on my list. And Ukraine. I thought that was going to end within 24 hours. Isn't that what he
Yeah.
said, or at least the
It,
first week?
no, he said 24 hours of the election. He didn't say first 24 hours of him being inaugurated. He said the first 24 hours after the election of Donald Trump. The war will cease. I can't do a good Trump, so I'm not even going to pretend like I can. Yeah,
Within
no, dude,
24 hours of my election, the war will be over.
you can't do one either.
I tried. I tried.
uh, yeah, no. To me, I was saying this to honestly my dad last night. We were having dinner, and we were talking about stuff. I was like, man, it feels like this one year has been a decade, and just, but it also seems like it has flown by because, like, golly, it's already November, But at the same time, it's like so much has happened this year, and I can't really think of anything good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, partially because we're focusing on the bad, and that's primarily what's been going on. It seems like
Sure,
a lot of
sure.
the promises have been not fulfilled and even turned on against. Um, so I don't know. Do we want to work through this in order of like escalating severity?
That's a good way to put it, dude. This is your channel. You hit it, and I'll roll with it.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's build up because recent events have made quite a climax to talk about in terms of a year-long, decade-long saga almost. So let's start. Um, First of all, I think what was some of the warning signs that this was going to be happening was the personnel, obviously, that Trump was beginning to surround himself with. Um, I wasn't totally in tune in 2016 during his first term. I had like a general idea of stuff that was going on, but I wasn't politically in tune necessarily. But even when I
Okay.
heard that he was considering Marco Rubio, for example, I was like, are we serious?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So is that kind of where you want to jump off first? Is just the picks and the people that he's gotten?
Yeah, just poor personnel. You got Pam Bondi, JD Vance, and he's endorsing Lindsey Graham. Like it's just all over the place.
Well, I mean, I'll even go back with you to 2016. I mean, is Coney Barrett any good? Is Kavanaugh has he held up his end of the bargain? Us fighting for him. I remember we were in New Mexico when the Kavanaugh thing was going on, and I turned it up, and I was such a freaking normie at this time, and we're listening to it, and just driving on vacation. I was like, we're listening to history unfold right now, and my wife was like, oh yeah, what an idiot I was. But I haven't seen a whole bunch from them back then, and now, like you pointed out, the ones. I mean, Bongino. Many people have made this comment or observation, I guess, of podcaster occupied government. Like it's kind of funny. You got your Bonginos and stuff, but then he dipped out. Cash Patel. It's women and foreigners that seems to be backing him. And I think maybe we can go into this a little bit further. But Nick said something the other day. I just caught a clip of it, and I didn't watch the whole thing. Um, Oh, what did he say? To be enemies of he knew to be the enemy of Trump. Did you catch that one? Oh,
Yes. Yeah, no,
yeah.
he's saying that's the only way to win with him
Yeah,
is
and
attacking him.
dadgum, he made some really good point because I stopped and thought about it, and it all checks out.
Well, it checks out for him personally too, because it literally
All of
worked.
it, yeah, all of it.
He went like as hard as he could in like trying to like destroy Trump's reputation, and then Trump says, "You know what? Tucker can talk to whoever he wants to." I was like,
Yeah,
you know, that
and
that's the only reason I'm attacking Trump. Actually, I'm waiting for his endorsement.
okay, all right. Well, I'll see you later, there, guy. Because you got to touch the wall if you want that endorsement. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think Trump endorsed Nick. To be honest with you, with that, that wasn't an endorsement.
But
I wouldn't take it as such.
no, not necessarily, not an endorsement per se, but you
It
know,
was a pass.
he didn't disavow him.
Exactly. He didn't. I avowed the OK lockers. I avow Joe Webbon. All this stuff. He didn't disavow. You're right.
Let's derail this again one more time. What is an OK locker?
Oh my goodness. It's an online Christian cult on Twitter.
It's a cult.
100%.
Is it secret? Do you know more about it than that?
I do.
Is it secret? You can't tell me?
I know a lot about it.
Is it just like
No,
short little like
I was just kind of if I know some of them listen to my stuff, so if this is on my channel, they'll hear it. So it was just kind of a shout out to them. No, it's just it's a group of dudes that something weird happened like a year ago, and they just a group of guys started doing some like there's a YouTube video that explains the whole lore of the OK Lockers, and it's just kind of funny, and they're all good dudes. So like I was like, what is this? And then I got wrapped up into it, and like all of my like most of my feed most of the time is just nothing but OK Locker guys because we're all mutuals. So it was funny.
yeah, I'm going to continue to derail it here.
I'll send you the video so you can see it because it's it's like it's funny and they have amazing edits, and so I mean it's actually a pretty cool group of guys, I guess you'd say. But they call themselves an online cult,
Okay, okay.
just for the
Online
jabs.
cult. Online cult spelled with a K. Is that the thing?
No, you're thinking of the thing that we don't speak of, or they don't speak of. I'm not an OK Locker, so I can say it. They don't speak about the horse, and you see the horse with an X of the O. That's what you see that you're thinking the cult, but they might spell the cult with a K. I don't think so. I've seen it spelled both ways.
I think I just
Wasn't
got more confused.
yeah.
Well,
Yep.
what I was saying I was going to derail it further is um this is kind of not even like related to the other topics I wanted to talk about, but um what made me think of that and ask that is like I was part of another group chat that's like a large nationwide group chat that's like very poor vetting. And there were some guys making like the OK locker jokes, and I didn't really follow it. I mean, there's just so much going on there, and I just everyone replied to that chat with like the OK emoji.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and so I asked somebody else who it was, and they're like, I don't know. I was like, okay,
no
okay,
that I I bet most of the guys that were making that jokes were probably not even at OK Lockers, like because they're it's when you said not vetting, like their vetting process is pretty funny. So and pretty detailed. But it's just a even the guys, it's a Christian right type of thing. They're like super Christian, super nationalistic, all fans of Joel Evans, Stone Choir. Some of them don't like Stone Choir, some of them don't like Joel, like just back and forth, that typical thing. It's our little group that's, broader, but they just kind of narrowed it down to something. And it started with okay for Christian. If you've seen the guy with the rooster, okay for Christians handle on X, he's the one that kind of accidentally completely started it. Like one day when he
okay,
locked his account down, and it just became a thing, like literally at midnight when everyone was asleep. So it's just kind of funny.
okay,
Okay, okay, locker.
okay, okay. Um, So yeah, let's get back on the topic a little bit here. um, I mean, what do you think would motivate him to be trusting these people again and endorsing these people? Any
Uh,
idea?
do you want my opinion, or do you want like my laissez-faire attitude of what you'll hear from everyone else?
Um, whatever you think is more accurate.
Okay, so state the question one more time.
Um, why do you think Trump would decide to trust all of these people? Like, for example, do you think he knew JD Vance spent, a good chunk of his time calling Trump a Nazi and whatnot and going hard against him? And again, Marco Rubio and some of these other people he's decided to trust. Like, why in the world? What would make him trust these people?
Well, I don't think he ever knew about any of that stuff because he wouldn't know about Rubio not liking him and being a never Trumper because he didn't, stand on the same stage as him several years back and debate him and get called nasty things by Rubio. So, I was being obviously facetious. Yeah, it's Trump. He knew about all of it. He knew about JD Vance being a never Trumper. He knew about JD Vance calling him this, that, and the other. He knew about Rubio. I mean, obviously they ran against each other in 16. So, um, yeah. To answer your question, I do believe that we can't if we want to upload this to YouTube because I think they're starting to crack down on things again. So we all know the reason why he's turning, the reason why he has these new affiliations with his former enemies, and it all comes from funding. And I think we think back on Trump. What got him his claim to fame is that he is the candidate that can't be bought. He's the candidate that's not going to get into the office and take a single dime from the taxpayer, and he's going to have a yearly salary of $1. Have you heard that alt since he's his second term? Have you ever heard that he's only taking $1 now?
I have
I just
not.
want I haven't heard anybody really talk about that. Maybe I have, and maybe I'm just regurgitating that. But as I'm thinking of it, that's what he ran on. He's not going to be bought and paid for. He's not going to take a dime, and I've heard that from people. But I haven't, as I'm thinking about it, I haven't heard a single thing about him saying I'm not going to take a salary this time. So he's obviously had donors like he didn't have the first time because no one thought he was going to be anything, and he didn't need them at the time. And it's almost like he has been put in this position. And I'm going to go kind of outside of what I would usually do. And Alt, stop me if I start, just talking way too much, and bring it back. Um, but I think they forced him into it. One could argue intentionally, by all the legalities and all the lawsuits and all the hoops he had to jump through. And I'm sure he had to spend a ton of money, while he was president and after he was president for everything that happened to him. I mean, I could list a whole bunch of things that I can't remember the exact names of everything right now, but we all know what I'm talking about. He was put under arrest, all this crap. Um, so they made him spend a whole lot of money that he had, and now they it seems like they've forced him into a corner to where he had to take those donors. I guess that would be like a MAGA defense of what I'm seeing, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just all, if you want me to be honest, it's all by design. I mean, he was selected in 16, I think. So, um, but it's obvious that, he's got donors that he has to hold to. So that's why he's gone with his former enemies. Sorry for talking so long.
No, no, you're good. It gave me some time to process what you were saying as well. Yeah, I think it's complicated. I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think one of the two things that came to mind while I was talking, or while you were talking, I mean, one is given how everything's situated right now. Yeah, he sort of had to rely on these people who supposedly know better than him. Um, Obviously, he's one man, and he, at least according in his mind, he thinks he has the right ideas about how the country should be ran and what should be done about various things. But maybe he recognizes his weakness, in terms of he doesn't know everything. He doesn't know how the system really works, and neither does a lot of his admin. So he has to bring in people who are familiar with all of the things, um, as far as how the bureaucracy works and who's doing what. You might have to lean on the swamp a little bit. I'm just saying maybe this is what he's thinking. Lean on the swamp a little bit because they're the ones that know how to pull the levers that he wants to pull. So he thinks maybe he can lean on them to get what he wants done, without realizing that these people aren't political jujitsu masters and are going to maneuver him in whatever direction is best for him. But then the second thing that came into my mind
Can I
was that,
can I
oh,
interject just for a second right
of
there?
course.
I think that would be a good explanation and a good excuse his first term. Like I fully agree with what you just said, but I think it only holds water in his first term. I think this term he has it all figured out now, so that he doesn't need to lean on that. So that's what's even more frustrating about it, is that he should by now know the political system where he doesn't have to lean on those outside influences and outside forces for that. So continue, buddy.
No, you're exactly right, and this is why we're so upset about it, right? This is why it irritates us so much that these people have been brought back in, and Pam Bondi's a woman. That should be like immediately off the table. Like, why are we trusting this woman with anything? I mean, that's just but Trump's not political like we are. But yeah, no, exactly. You're right. This is why we're upset. Is he should have learned from the first term not to surround himself with these people and to only trust people that have not called him a Nazi within the last 5 years. You would think. Um, I don't
One
know
would think.
when. Yeah. The second thing that I was thinking of was that to a certain extent we almost shouldn't have been. Not almost. We really should not have been surprised when Trump was not delivering on some of the things that um, us people, or people with our mindset, the things that we value, because he doesn't value those things and he's never valued those things. So I think Nick was right when he said that this whole thing started as an anti-corruption movement. We wanted the deep state out. We wanted to um, get rid of foreign influence and whatnot. And that was the initial draw. Was he was um, wanting to say that it wasn't so much that, oh, we are going to stop all of the foreigners from coming in, and you know there was some racialized parallel things that he was saying, like the stuff about Mexico, they're sending their worst. I don't remember the exact quote, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
I actually I do because I had several people that I worked with at the time because they were, the ones he was talking about because he was saying they're coming over and R wording our women and stuff, and they're like, "You think I'm doing that?" And I'm like, "You might not be, but your cousin is."
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, so I mean, to a certain extent, we shouldn't have been thinking that Trump was going to deliver the real victories that people like us want to see, because he doesn't have those same values. So it's not too much of a surprise. Um, he was never, super pro Christian and therefore had a proper understanding of um, Christianity and their relationship to Judaism and stuff like that. Um, Yeah, so I didn't see him. I don't see him still as a particularly principled guy. Um, I guess being generous or charitable, you'd say that he doesn't like corruption, and he's trying to get corruption out of the government. But he was never like a hardcore traditionalist, race realist, or anything like that.
Oh, heavens no. This is the problem I had with him in 16 when I was trying to figure out who I was going to vote for. You're watching the Republican, what do they call that? The run up to select a Republican or whatever. I forget the name of it.
Primary,
Is that what it's called? The primary to
yeah,
select
when
the.
they're selecting the candidates.
Okay, yeah. Um, so as I was watching that, I didn't know who to vote for, and I kept thinking Trump is he's literally a Bill Clinton Democrat. He's a '90s Democrat. He's always been a Democrat. So why would I vote? This is what I was thinking then, and obviously now it's reflecting to be true because that's what he is. He's a '90s Democrat, um, and that hasn't changed. And the Republican Party has drifted so far left that it just seems conservative now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's just been crazy to watch the conservatives transform, if that's even what happened. I I would stick
Metamorphosis.
I would stick to the point that they never had the values. I think that a lot of them, they really are just politicians through and through. They're trying to get votes. They don't have any principles for the most part. I think that applies to probably 99% of them.
They were just going off what the country was. They realized that the majority of the country was conservative, so they needed to be conservative at the time. And then, the liberals started to change the culture way back when. So, I mean, it's just been a designed struggle really from the get-go.
Yeah, and I'm at this point, I'm not interested in, obviously, I think almost all of us are here. I've not been interested at all in having Republicans or the GOP win. Like I'm ready for some outside force. Like they might run as Republicans, sure, but like the new identifying labels needs to be nationalist, or something even more spicy, but nationalist at a very minimum, and a real understanding of what nationalism is and who the nation is that they're supposed to be serving. Because I can tell you right now that it's not about all these foreigners. They are not Americans. Um, they're foreigners. That's put pure and simple. They don't see themselves as part of America. They don't see themselves as part of our Christian European heritage. They think that they're part of this idea of America where we're supposed to be the world's melting pot. That's the idea of that's the America that they think they're a part of. Is we're supposed to be this mosaic of different cultures and identities. They're not actually in love with traditional Americanism in the way that we think of it. Um, so yeah, I'm just totally over that whole situation. Ready for either a new party, which I know is almost impossible, or a new group to infiltrate, explicitly, overtly infiltrate Republicans and just be like, we're not Republicans, we're nationalists.
I fully support that. I just, as you know, I'm more realistic about it, and just
You say
see.
realistic.
I do. I say realistic because I've seen the charts of how it happened in the 30s in Germany. I see the charts of how it got elected and all this stuff, and the comparisons that we make to that. Um, but the landscape is just so vastly different, and the infiltration hasn't been just what did they have from the First World War to the second. It wasn't that big of a time. We've got 80, 90 years of this stuff, and in order to overcome that, it's going to take a lot longer than that, and it's going to look a lot different than just voting our way in, I believe. So this infiltration of a party, because I do agree with you that a third option is needed. But what we see that we're going to get is probably like a libertarian viewpoint, and that's no good for nobody. Um, but really, for our guys, it just comes down to the replacement theory, and that's all we fight against, and we fight our government about it. And we're not literally fighting, like, just we're opposed to that idea of being taken away from our heritage and our homeland and being run out of our home, and that's really what it just comes down to. And it's, in my opinion, it's now or never, or realistically, it was that way back when our parents were raising us. And we see that the vast majority of the boomers didn't do what was needed to get us to where we needed to go. So we're reaping the benefits of that. So I think the landscape is just, it's past the point of making a difference politically. And that's not a call for violence or anything. You can take it for what it is. Um, but that's just how I see it. And I don't think it's going to be violence per se in general. I would say it would be more of like a separation of states. I see that being more likely, like secessions, and that's just kind of what I see happening. Really, what do you think about that?
So I wanted to clarify too that I don't have hope that voting and getting guys in office is going to fix things. When I was talking about nationalists going into the party, I was more talking about at least maximizing whatever effect we can have in politics, because I think these things exist like on a spectrum or on a gradient. Do I think that we're going to vote our way back to having white only spaces and having a place for us to retain our culture like officially? Um, no, I don't see that happening in our political climate. Um, but with the seceding states thing, I also don't know if that would really work. It's really a weird question to get into, because there's so many factors to consider. I think when we can kind of rule out voting and whatnot, like you said, out of a few very clear and obvious facts. That being that the country is almost less than 50% white now. So the idea that we're going to get some, yeah, like a repeat of the NSDAP in Germany again, that's just so far fetched. It's never going to happen. Like they had like a total like white majority country, and that's how they got in. But um, yeah, the idea that we are in a position that's even possible, yeah, I don't see that happening. And I'll be honest, I've thought about a lot of what could happen on a macro scale, and I confess, like I don't know. I really don't know. I don't. I personally don't see the states seceding. I'd love to be proven wrong. Um, but yeah, I think the way that I see things going is, at least at first, um, what white people have to first develop a racial consciousness and start acting in their group interests. And I guess that's also part of the reason why I'm also sort of black pilled a little bit with you on the situation, is that it's the year is 2025. There's been a lot going on, and yet we still have almost no politicians that are willing to get up and say the phrase "white people." And I think that's just crazy. Like, I mean,
Have
no
you heard?
one is
I
even
have
willing
never
to
heard.
mention us.
I've never heard one politician ever say anything about the benefit of white people.
Exactly, and no mainstream institution either. So
No, no, and yeah. So don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm thinking that that's what secession is going to happen. What I mean by that is I think the only viable means for what we are hoping for our country would be through secession. And that would be, us relocating to wherever that happens to be, and becoming cohesive as a country of our people. Um, that's just the only thing I can make sense, other than just all out, you know, war. So those are really the only two options I see, other than what I fear is going to happen, and I'm pretty sure probably will happen, is just, you know, communist um, dictatorship, which is what we're going to get in 28, and I don't think we'll ever get out of that.
yeah, so I think the first thing that definitely needs to happen before, we're almost putting the cart before the horse to an extent, talking about like what the solution is.
100% we
Um,
are.
and well, what I mean by that is like there's definitely other things that happen first, and I think we'll get into that. That is sort of along the line that I wanted to talk about. Um, hold on one second. Okay, I thought somebody might have joined the room or something. Anyways,
Weird.
yeah, that we'll talk
It's just
about
Cash. What's up, Cash?
Gash Patel.
It's just Crash Patel. We're good.
No, it's his Mossad girlfriend. Oh
Hey,
shoot.
hey, don't mention it. Shh,
Yep.
don't. Shh. Do you have $5 million? Be quiet.
I only have 4.
Okay, you better hush up.
I do not have $4 million.
Obviously.
Yeah, this show would be going a little differently if I did. I would have
For real.
security and I'd have my face out. But anyways, um, I wanted to finish up talking about Trump before we talk about building that critical mass. Um, so I have two things else that I wanted to talk about with Trump. One of them was I want to get your thoughts on the no talented Americans and the fact that we're endorsing, what was it, 600,000 Chinese students to come to our colleges. You support that?
Uh, Obviously not. I don't know if I can really even commentate on that. I think his words gave every validation that I could ever give for or against him. And I think his words stand alone with what he said. So if you don't know what we're talking about and you're listening to this, guys, go look up. Was it Megyn Kelly interviewed him? And he said, no, was it Megyn Kelly or was it that other chick?
I think so. I honestly don't remember who it was who
Or
was
Laura? It
interviewing.
was Laura Ingraham, I think. It was one of those two, you know. Insert same face for Fox News chicks that interviewed him. But just go look that up. And he said that Americans don't have any talent. So, you know, what am I supposed to say about that?
Yeah.
Stuff that you can't say here.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, I just think it's crazy too. You literally can't win with the foreign labor. Um, Companies win,
No.
but we don't. I
Well,
just think it's
that's the
crazy
thing.
because on one hand, you have them saying like Americans aren't willing to do the hard jobs with their hands. Like they're not willing to work with their hands, so we need to import all of the Mexicans for the low skill labor.
I've heard that all my life.
And on the other hand, they say, well, we don't have enough Americans going to university and providing high skill labor. So on both ends, you're just importing foreigners to replace Americans. And I don't understand like how can people even justify that this is a good thing for us?
So the way you frame that made me think of something that is unrelated to what you asked, but I think you'll see where I'm tracking. Um, that to me, what you just said, that we don't have people willing to work for, you know, the blue collar jobs like I am. You don't have the people going to colleges and studying and getting the degrees to do jobs like, you know, the white collars do. Um, so what is the common factor? It is America, because he's talking about Americans. He's talking about the American system as a whole. He's talking about American families. He's talking about the American educational system, being the government funded educational system or the universities. So he literally just explained an existential crisis that we've had for years that no one talks about, of the lack of Americanness and the growth, because we have been literally poisoned by our food, by our water, by everything. Like everything is against the Americans, by the shots that they give us. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. The TV that they pump into our homes that separate children from their parents, that separate husbands from their wives. Everything has attacked American people. And now they're saying, because of what they've done to us, and you can insert the parentheses on on the they, whatever you want to. Um, but they've done this to the American people, and now we've got to import all this stuff. It's just, you know, the playbook, man, and we're seeing it literally come to fruition and before our eyes. But now we're seeing the guy that we used to trust say the exact same things, and it's got us all mad.
Yeah, I'd almost disagree a little bit. I think that the talent is there for Americans. I think that we do have people that are willing to do the manual labor jobs, and we do have people that are willing to do the high skill jobs. I think the problem that we're facing here is that these other foreigners are willing to do the job cheaper than we are, and that's for a number of reasons. Like they don't have the same lifestyle that they wish to see. Like I don't understand how can you compete, for example, with the Mexicans who they're willing to pile their entire family into a single home, and therefore, if many of them are working, they can even afford to have their women stay at home like a traditional household if they want to, and they're still able to work for less and have a higher, um, not maybe not a higher standard of living, but they have a nicer house that more of them are in. And I just that's not how Americans want to live, and that's not how we ought to live. That's not how we should have to live in order to compete with them. And again, I think that you have the high skill foreigners, they're coming over here and, I think that they also maybe have less standards, and some of them are by themselves and not providing for a family because they abandoned their family back wherever they came from. But um yeah, no, I think there's the example of there was some automotive plant or something that shut down, or I don't remember what the plant was, but um essentially, um, ICE or whoever went in and rounded up all the illegals out of the factory, and the factory put out hiring, and like there was like a line wrapped around the building of Americans trying to get jobs. So
No,
I
yes. So not to, I don't want to backtrack, but I do want to clarify with what I said. I wasn't saying that all Americans are like that. You sparked something in me that made me think, if he really does believe that, then we've got a situation on our hands. And I just kind of fleshed out that situation that could be. But I do agree with you that we do have a lot of Americans that do want to do those jobs. Just like you said, the line being out the door for, I know I can't remember the exact manufacturer that happened to, but yeah, I remember that. Um, but you can't compete at all with someone that's going to. I relate it to what you said of a crew of construction workers to build a house or remodel, but I'm just going to say like framing a house. So you have your slab poured, and you're trying to get bids as a homeowner or home builder, whatever, um, to build this house. You guys that come in from America that live here, they're your neighbors. They've got a group of guys started his own business. Good group of people, white Americans. They come and give you a bid, an honest bid, and then you get Juan, Jose, and whatever Armando to come in, and we've got how many hundreds, thousands of dollars less because they don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to pay their guys' taxes. All they have to do is pay their guys cash. They're going to keep probably 30, 40, 50 bucks of it and send the rest of it to Mexico. So not only do we not have to tax that money, but we don't even get that money spent in our country. We don't get the benefit of the GDP growth from them spending their money that they get paid here. It goes back there. So you can't compete with that. So yes, I agree with you. I guess I got off on a little tangent on thinking something else, but I think both of them kind of need to be thought about.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I think at the end of the day, no matter what the reason is, or whether or not there's Americans to fill jobs, I think at the end of the day what we're looking at is Americans are being replaced. And I think there's a lot of us who feel like I do when I say, like, I don't care if deporting all of them means that there's less people to work jobs. Like, I I
We'll
let a
figure it
couple
out.
businesses. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Let the businesses close down. Like, I don't understand why we have to meet this constantly growing demand for production and things to be done. Like, if there's not enough people to do it, I guess your output goes down. I'm okay with the output going down if it means I get to keep my country and get to keep a place, um, for my family to be raised in, that reflects how I grew up and reflects the culture I come from. I'm willing to sacrifice that. And then I also think there's a few things that happen, and this might be poor understanding of economics on my part. I know Richard Hanania would probably tell me as much. Um, but you get rid of the labor, and then there's less people working jobs. The pay goes up. There's also less people filling up houses, so the housing market sees a dip. Like, am I wrong in thinking that? Like, if we were to deport all these people, we get higher wages and lower house prices. Like, is that insane?
No,
Do you know?
it's logic, and just like you said, you got the demand, or the productivity goes down if you deport. I'm going to say 150 million to start. I'm going to throw out that number because that's what needs to happen, and we'll never get those numbers ever. But if you want to change the country, that's what's going to have to happen. Yeah, productivity is going to go down, but guess what? So is demand, because but the demand on certain things are going to change because we've got these people that don't belong here that have anti-American values, that do things and spend their money that really isn't like the rest of the Americans. So that demand is going to shift to different things that Americans can fulfill. Like you said, housing's going to go way down, and everyone's going to be trying to hire somebody to fill these shoes that these illegals just left. So they're going to have to eventually, if they can't hire American workers like the claim is, they're just going to raise the wages. And guess what? People are going to say, you know what? It's time. It's time to do it. Maybe you got the people that have been living at mom and dad's house forever because they can't find a job or whatever. And now the pay is enough for them to get their own apartment. They can afford their own apartment. They can afford to go, whatever. It's just logical. So yeah, I do agree with you there, Alt.
Yeah, and we also know that there's probably a decent amount of them that are on assistance of some sort. So you have that. That would be a net positive for the country to get all those welfare recipients out of the country.
So I've got a little, if you don't mind, I got a little story about that, real quick, that happened over the weekend that just lit a fire under my butt, and I think
Sure.
it fits with what we just talked about. This weekend, my daughter's best friend was playing on her dad's truck and fell off, and she put her foot on the exhaust pipe and basically almost cut her toe off. So they rounded her up, and they went to the closest one to them, which was an urgent care. So, do y'all have urgent cares up where you are?
Um, I think we call them something else, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, an urgent care is just like, it's like a hospital for whatever. But so they went there and they sat there for an hour and a half. And after the hour and a half, they finally called her name as this little 6-year-old girl sitting there with her foot bleeding. And they said, "Oh, we don't take your insurance. You're going to have to go somewhere else." As they were sitting there, like 4 or 5 Hispanic families went back and forth, in, out, without having to pay a single dime. That will radicalize anybody. And that shit happens every day. Apologize for cursing on your channel. Man, that irritates me because that's what we're funding. The insurance that my buddy has worked his rear end off for to pay for can't go and get his daughter's foot sewed up because the insurance isn't accepted. But yet somebody who doesn't belong here can go in and not have to pay a single dime and get whatever they want done. That's just like America as a whole in 2025.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is outrageous.
and at the end of the day too, like this is what we're talking about where you want to talk about, oh, well, if you deport the workers, there's less demand. And we get caught up in talking about supply, demand, GDP, production. Like none of that matters at all to me. None of that
No.
matters at all to me if my children and my grandchildren are treated like second class citizens in the country that their ancestors built. Like that is enough. Like I am ready to declare a formal legal war um on the foreigners. Like, like I am ready to pay for my children's future and their children's future with my blood. And I know that's not the stage we're in right now, so I'm attempting to pay for their life with my life by living out and doing the politics and getting involved in everything that I am. I'm doing everything that's within my power to try and see that through. Because at the end of the day, like and I'm sure you are, and I'm sure many of us who feel this way, we are willing to take a worse standard of living. We are willing to, like I've kind of, it's been a fun thought experiment for me to think of what would I be willing to do to have like my country again? And it's like I think about it and I'm like, I'm literally willing to lose limbs. Like if I could be guaranteed that, my children and grandchildren will grow up in the society that I want for them, I would gladly cut off like all four of my limbs and just be like a stump, if I know that's like silly, but um like this is how I feel. Like if it meant that like I literally like could get nutrition from water. Yeah, I play games with myself. It's kind of funny to think of these things. Like if I could just drink water and that would be my total sustenance. Like I never tasted anything else again. I never enjoyed any other food again. Like I would do it. Like I would do these things. And so like it does not matter um if things get a little bit more expensive or I have to downgrade my house. Um like if that's what the consequences are of keeping my country, of protecting my nation, like I'm ready for it, you know? No economic arguments are gonna like dissuade me from that.
Absolutely. I don't even. I can't argue with that whatsoever. I've already had my kids, so yeah, it's time. I don't have to be around, to create them. So, um, yeah, I'm ready to go out of this world or of this life for them to do this. And I'm sure there's probably going to be like one or two people that listen to this that aren't inside of our circles, and they're going to think, man, these guys are being super hyperbolic about this. It doesn't seem like it's that bad. We look around, we still have air conditioning, we got electricity, we got running water. Like, dude, things aren't this bad. These people are just freaking out and, worrying about nothing. That's not the point. What we are worried about is because we can see what's right ahead in the future for us, right around the corner, that not a lot of people are just realizing that they want us gone and they have already overran our country, and it's intentional, and we want our kids to have somewhat of a life that we had growing up. I'd love to be able to be raising my kids right now in the 90s like I was raised. Like I would kill for that. Like absolutely. And even then sucked if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, because that was when we were being indoctrinated like super heavily with, you're white, you're the enemy, you're the bad guy, you're forever evil. Um, so yes, I am there with you. You show me where to sign alt, and I will sign that declaration of war with you, because enough is enough. And I do feel like we all are starting to realize that we're at that point, and we also are all trying to figure out what we do about that.
Right. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we are not in that state currently. So, the best thing that we can be doing is just, yeah, like I said, living our lives for that cause. Like, I was talking to my wife about that the other day about how it seems like there's a ton of guys that are ready and willing to die for the cause. Like you talk to them, like my stepdad is a good example of this. And no, I'm not knocking him necessarily in case he listens to this. Um, it's just like he's like ready and willing. He's like not for he doesn't believe everything I believe. I just want to clarify that for his his sake. But he wants the country back like I do. And he has a lot of similar sentiments. But anyways, he's ready and willing to die for the things that he believes in. But it's like, okay, but what are we doing to live for it? I mean, there's plenty of things that could be being done. He's got a lot of things going on for him. And if you were just to ask what he could do, because he knows that I know about this stuff, he knows I am into this stuff and I know a lot about it, but he's never asked me like what can he be doing. And I have some pretty good ideas, but it requires him to care about it enough to live for the cause rather than just say he's going to die in some trench for it. Um, and I know a lot of guys are kind of like in that mindset where they're like, "Oh, I'm ready to like give me the gun, give me the helmet, sign me up, and wind me up and throw me in a direction. I'm gonna explode like a grenade." It's like, okay, but can you like, I don't know, like build a house for somebody? Like, not that's just like one example. Build a house or, um, yeah, like start a business or go down to your your rehab center and like help out with people there, like whatever the help looks like, in the small like little things. But yeah, they're not really like willing to put in the work to do like regular things, boring things, to help the cause. Um,
I don't think they'd at the rehab center they'd be appreciative. It'd be like, "Hey, I'm here to help, but I only want to help my guys." What do you mean by that? I mean, like, Jigaboo can go.
yeah, well, that was maybe a bad example. I was just like
No, I know.
thinking of like things that people can do like in their immediate area to help because
No, you're right. We got to
I
do what
guess
we can.
I was thinking too generally because like when you start to get into things that people can actually do, it's like you have to be very specific. For example, Nova is
Mm-hmm.
an organization that helps white families, and they have various things that they do. They go and do disaster relief during tornadoes and hurricanes, and currently, right now, they have Operation White Christmas, and they've done a fantastic job of assembling this list of white families who are needy. And it's like little Amazon list. You can send stuff anonymously. Look up their X profile, and you'll see um, they've had several lists out. I didn't realize they were going to be sending out multiple lists. So I went and bought a bunch of stuff from like the first list, and then like a couple days later they came out with the second one, and I was like, oh shoot, like I already spent like a decent amount of money on the first one. Like I guess I'll let other guys handle this one, but it is neat. It's neat going through the list, and especially with some of the things that they're asking for. You're doing a good thing and helping out some people who really could use it. But it's stuff like that. Are you willing to, you're willing to die in the trenches? Are you willing to give, you know, just for example, multiple hundreds of dollars towards this Operation White Christmas? And of course, there's other ways to use your money, but like I think that's a pretty good one. And are you ready and willing? Let's say if there's a hurricane or a tornado, are you willing to take off work for a week to head down there and like help these people like on the ground, boots on the ground? Um, it's these sorts of things that, especially going into the future, we're going to have to um, warm up to doing a little bit more because, as we've seen, there's been a sort of trend where like FEMA is not helping these areas, and for various reasons, we're going to withhold aid, such as not supporting Israel. That was, I don't know if that like really went through or if that was just proposed, but like, I mean, there's some scary things that are in the works in our government that
My state's
have
already dealt with that, to be honest with you. Back when Harvey hit, there was places that didn't get it because they didn't sign the paper.
for the Israel thing.
Yeah, and that was way back. Actually, that little blurb on X that you saw was from my state back in, shoot, what was that? 18, 17, 18 when Harvey hit, or
Wow.
19? Yeah. So I know all about that.
Right. So these are good ways that we can actually be doing real things to help. But again, that's something I wanted to get into towards the end. We're mixing in the second half with the first half. We're not going
Politics
to
is
have
politics.
anything.
We've already gone for a good while, so we're rolling. We've gotten off on rabbit trails, so
Yeah,
we're
no, that's
good.
good. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to go another 2 hours at least.
Okay, then.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure some
Obviously.
people would appreciate that. So last thing I wanted to talk about was drum roll, please.
I don't know. I can't.
I'll add an effect later.
There we go.
Um, the Epstein files.
Oof.
Yeah. How's that been going? How are we, are we winning yet?
Well, I mean, it did get voted in today. Only one nay voted against it, and they're going to get released. Supposedly, it is going to get released. So,
Supposedly.
I mean, Massey's posting about it. So, I watched the interview, or they addressed Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Massey, and Nancy Mace, and that they talked about it. I listened to Massey and a little bit of Green. Couldn't handle Mace. Um, Yeah, it seems like it got passed. My fear is that we're going to get just basically a page full of black ink, and either that or it's going to be, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, if the Epstein stuff does actually come out in full, it's going to rock our government, and it's going to probably send us into like a complete, like some kind of either market crash or I don't know. Like you have to think that if this all truly does come out with what we feel like we know, because no one can say 100% that they know. We're all internet sleuths, conspiracy theorists, and whatever. We've heard all the stuff since 2020 and all this stuff. But if it really does come out, think of the impact that it's going to have on our government. So I just don't see that it's possible for it to come out. Um, yeah, it's just kind of where I've been on it. I think we're going to get a whole lot of papers with a lot of black lines through them.
So I have a couple things. First of all, I'm pretty sure the Nothing Ever Happens Chud is looking through my office window right now. I saw
Yeah,
him. He's tapping his whiteboard in my window that says Nothing Ever Happens.
he sure is, and he's hardly ever wrong.
And he's always lurking. He's always there. Nothing ever happens. Yeah, so
Ever.
I'm pretty pessimistic about it.
Yeah,
I
me too.
think I think that there's a lot of show and they're trying to like quell it. I'm welcome to be surprised by something, but I just yeah, I'm overall pretty negative about that. And there's an interesting component to that. I don't remember who said this. I don't remember who was responsible for releasing this information, maybe Pam Bondi. But somebody said that the only thing that remains yet to be released are the actual photos and videos of
Yeah,
this stuff happening. And
several
so
people said that.
so I think first of all, I I can definitely see that as like that's just BS, right? Like they just don't want to release the files because the stuff that is there that isn't that stuff, it's very damning. However, well, go ahead and give your take on that. Like, I mean, would you agree with that, right? Like that's just like a ploy, or could be just a ploy to make you like forget about the files.
Yeah, but honestly, as you said that, I hope I'm not stealing your point. But it just made me think, like, were they just waiting around for AI to catch up to where everyone can say it's just AI?
That's not where I was going with it, but that is a good point. Um,
Just think about the
yeah,
timing. Think about the advancements in AI video we've had in like the past 6 months. It looks real now, like real, real. You can't really tell a difference. You gotta be good to tell a difference. So I don't know. It just made me think of it. To answer your question, I guess without being weird, like I have been all night. Uh, yeah. I think they did that. Well, just Trump's whole his mood and attitude has changed about it completely. I mean, it's a Democrat hoax. How long ago? That was 8 months ago.
what?
That the Epstein files is a Democrat hoax. Like that
Yeah,
was
I
not
know.
that long ago.
I thought that was crazy. He was saying that. What he said something else too, like, um, what did he call his base who wanted the answers? Like,
If you're not MAGA. If you care about the Epstein files, you're not MAGA. Like it's like verbatim. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, okay, Joe Biden. Like it's crazy the shift.
he basically said his supporters are stupid or something like that if they didn't.
Oh, he used a certain term, but basically he just called us all idiots.
I'm looking at my ex right now because I said something about it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but um, I cannot remember for the life of me. Yeah, it's been rough though because his whole shift on it, everyone's shift on it. Now that it's coming out, it just I'll be honest with you, because the government's doing it, it seems fake. Like I just it's all fake and gay. Joel Webbin's correct. It's all fake and gay. Um, so
I I found it. He called them stupid weaklings.
stupid weaklings. Dang, that's rough.
He said he called them stupid weaklings and disavowed them as no longer MAGA.
Okay, so I just remember the last part. Thanks for clarifying that for me. That's
I
crazy.
just
That's
that is
crazy.
crazy. Um, but yeah, then all the stuff about him like wanting to see his name in the files, then ordering him not to be released, and like it is
What about the
insane.
letter? Like the letter that he sent Jeffrey Epstein, or the letter, yeah, and the drawing that wasn't a drawing that he's never done because he doesn't ever draw.
Right.
Yeah,
Very, very
just
suspicious.
I mean, I don't want to get your channel in trouble, but all you have to do is look into his wife and how they met. And like, it makes me curious.
I actually don't know about that.
I don't think we should get into it at the moment.
Okay. Well, I did want to finish my other point too that I was going to make with it. Um, hold on. Okay. Um, are you still there?
Of course.
Okay. The other point that I was going to make with it was that um, what if they're not lying? That the real diehard proof that these people are
Mm-hmm.
guilty of it is real footage.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to be allowed to see that? Like, I'm
Ugh.
sure the most of us wouldn't want to see it. So like as yeah, it's just, that's
Mm-mm.
like a weird situation. That's kind of what makes the form of blackmail that it is so genius, right? Is like people can't even look at the
Yeah.
evidence.
Damn.
Good
Yeah.
conscious people don't want to look at it. And then for legal reasons, that becomes a question of like if you are caught in possession of official public evidence, like you're going to jail. Like
Yeah.
that is just like a weird thing to navigate.
I mean, it kind of makes me think like that one guy that had to draw the painting of uh of Simon of Trent. He had to draw the painting for us to know. Like, how did he feel? Like, if that's the only evidence we've got, like somebody's gonna have to watch it. It's not gonna be me. I don't want to see it. But yeah, you're right. It does leave. It's it's a crime so heinous that you're just like, I can't even stomach it to witness the proof. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that I've thought about that once or twice. I was like, man, like, yeah, and then off the off chance, like, it's even worse. Also, kind of if like what you're saying, like it's AI generated, so it's like you look at the evidence and it's not even actual evidence; it's AI generated evidence, but it's still the thing that you think it is. Like,
And you had to watch it in general.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
just like a
Well,
whole nother.
that I mean, that would be kind of ingenious and diabolical to make. Oh man, that does sound like something that they would do
It
to get
is
people to
exactly.
commit that sin by watching it, not only and believe a lot. Like, dang, it's almost like we live in biblical times or something. I don't know,
The little season. What's it called?
man. That's what it is. I don't know. I go back and forth. I see signs of the little season, and I also see signs of like the normal, like amillennial eschatology view of antichrist and all that stuff. So it's hard. It's hard to think about that stuff because we do, without sounding completely, futuristic dispensationalism, reading the headlines into the Bible. It's hard to ignore a lot of those facts.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know much about that, honestly. The little season is just like the brief period of time Satan gets to roam free and do what he wants before Jesus has the second return, right?
Yes and no.
Second coming.
Yes and no. That is a conversation that deserves its entire episode, honestly. And I'm not well versed in it as much as I want to. I've been studying it a lot because it does make a lot of sense. But to boil it down and give you like a real brief flyover for you and your audience, the little season is basically the view that yes, we are in the time of Satan being loosed from the bottomless pit that he was chained during the millennium. With that, it has a preterist view of Revelation and the destruction of the temple. That's when Christ came back. That's when the rapture happened. If you're rapture, whatever, just it's a buzzword that people know what I'm talking about. But that's when the second coming happened, and the millennial reign happened for 1,000 years after that. Um, and then we're living in the time where Satan was released after Christ reigned on earth for 1,000 years, and our history's been changed and stuff like that. So that's kind of a it makes sense because of the deception aspect of it, and the inconsistencies with a lot of historical events that we look back through if you really dig into it. So there's a lot to it. I'm not going to throw my hat at it right now and say I believe in it. It's just it's compelling. I will say that.
Yeah, yeah. There's especially if you kind of take a like what's the word I'm looking for? Analogical analogy type view of some of those prophecies. Like, yeah, there's a lot of weird parallels.
I guess I'm glad you actually said that. Making an analogy of scripture and stuff. That's kind of what's appealing to little season eschatology is it takes it literally, not like what dispensationalists claim that they do with taking the Bible literally when they do it literalistically. Little season guys would take it like literal, that when Revelation says that don't seal up the writings of this book because it's short to take place, or it will happen soon, that it did happen soon for them, and it happened in 70 AD. Like that, they liken it back to when Daniel says, or when God tells Daniel to seal up this book, for the prophecy is not at hand yet, and it was sealed up for the 70 weeks that were prophesied, and then Christ fulfilled the 70th week, and we get Revelation. John's told to not seal it up because it's going to happen immediately. Over and over again, we see in John or in Revelation that John was saying that this is going to happen immediately, right away. It fulfills the Olivet Discourse, and it makes Jesus completely fulfilled prophecy in saying that everything he said in the Olivet Discourse did actually happen to that generation he was talking about, because they do say that he did come back in 70 AD, not only in judgment, but he came back to rule and reign, and that's when the millennial happened. So, yeah, that's it. It does sound a little fantastical and a little bit almost heretical when you first hear it, because you're like, wait, Jesus has already came back. Like, that's the biggest takeaway I get, or the biggest drawback I have from it, is like, I don't know if I can wrap my head around the idea that he has came back, because my whole life it's been like he's coming.
Right. That's actually an interesting point too, because I think that as born again regenerate Christians, I think we understand that there is like um, there's certain things that are required for salvation, and I don't understand why believing in this formula of the second coming to such a strict degree. I don't see how that's part of salvation. Um,
That's
you know what I mean? Like
I,
it's almost like we've been
every
taught to
confession
think,
has it though.
right? Well,
That's what I'm saying, and that's you honestly just kind of proved yourself thinking little season wise, because it does prove that we don't have to hold to that for our salvation, and it also proves that because we've been taught that that's part of our salvation, then we have been deceived. Like, it's quite interesting.
so um, like I'm trying to remember. So the Nicene Creed says he will come again. It doesn't
Yes.
say the second time. It doesn't put a number on it. Let's see.
No,
Apostles' Creed. Just trying
it
to
will come to
remember.
judge the living and the dead. But also, that's what the little season people believe, that during this little season, Satan's rising up his armies, like in Revelation 20, to fight against the Most High and the saints. And at the end of that, Christ will, you know, lay everyone that's opposed to him to waste, and he'll throw them in the pit of hell and the great white throne judgment. So even still, with that view, there is still a conquering return of Christ. It's a more of a different return than what we always thought it was going to be, because they think it's already happened. So,
Right. Yeah. I guess my point was just that, like, I don't understand the number of times he comes back. Like, that's important for your salvation, or like whether or not, like, some of the things that he said in those verses, like if you don't believe what like the dispensationalists believe, that's heresy. You're going to hell. Like,
hmm hmm
I don't buy into that.
I agree.
Like
I
there's
there's only one way to get into heaven, and there like, it doesn't say anything about what you believe about the end.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like your salvation is dependent on believing that first of all, you're a broken sinner, that Christ died for you on the cross for your sins, and that he justified your entrance into heaven. And that was through the grace of God that you have your faith in Christ on the cross. Um, yeah, I don't having proper eschatology, I don't see that fitting in there.
Yes, and isn't it interesting that we like to draw the lines on salvation on things that are tertiary issues, and when it comes down to, actual gospel issues, a lot of the mainline Christians will waver on that kind of stuff. The actual important stuff of, you know, was did he atone for our sins? Was he God? Was he perfect? Can you do this on your own without him? Can you work
Right.
yourself to get there? No, we like to make the issues about the stupid crap, and I mean, it's kind of the enemy's ploy.
I was just gonna say, how much of that do you think has to do with upholding this dispensationalist Schofield Bible type view of the world that kind of supports the people who would like us to have those beliefs? Do you think that has a lot to do with it? The reason why we feel like questioning some of these prophecy things as heresy is because the interpretation supports, to some extent, Israel's goal. Oh, let's get out of the bag. Yeah, Israel's goals.
100%. I don't think it's. I don't think we can thoroughly comprehend it because we live in the time that we do. Because everything revolves around that idea of theology. Even if, I mean, even the Reformed, even the amillennial, like even I guess you'd say like Catholic and Orthodox that don't even you flirt with dispensationalism and never have, that never creeped into either one of those churches. They still deal with it because of the world that we live in. So it's really hard to answer that question. But I mean, the answer to the question is yes. But to flesh it out, um, we don't even know what we believe without that being crept into the church.
Right. And I think some of the beliefs, I mean, they're perfectly valid to have. And like, I understand how people get to them from scripture. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not saying that they're crazy at all. It's just like, um, and of course, maybe people have disagreed on some of these details for a while now, but I think I was emphasizing mostly that it's like this feeling of like heresy about some of the things. I guess that's probably always been around to some extent, but yeah, definitely cannot question whether or not 1948 Israel is true Israel or not, because that's worthy of death.
Yeah, it really is. And that's, yes. I mean, that's where it comes from, is all of the dispensational stuff creeping in. And without that, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. Um, sure, you're going to have your heresies. They had heresies in the first century. Just so happened to be the first one was Judaizing, and we see it returning. Um, but you know, um, it was going to happen eventually. And if you stop and think about it, if you take like a realistic atheistic approach to it, does it not seem like the most logical way to attack the church? Like how it's happened, like it's
In
it's
term,
just the most logical how Satan would use that as terms of orthodoxy within Christ's church to say that it's wrong. He'd slip that in because it'd still have the coat of Christianity, but its roots would be from Judaism.
yeah, and it would obviously, as we see, be like a main driver in our destruction.
Correct, because it affects everything, not just religion. It affects politics, all of it.
It affects people's family lives. Like
Oh yeah,
I know a guy who was going to go to seminary, and his dad told him he would not be blessing his trip to seminary because he did not support Israel.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I thought that was insane. I don't think he's blessing his marriage either.
oh my goodness. Well, I thought my family was super dispies, so at least there's some grace on that. So I'll be thankful and white pill on that.
His family was close to disowning him over it. It was
Oh my
insane.
goodness.
Like, they are hardcore dispensationalist. Um, and it was funny because that friend was one of the guys that was going to come along for some of my political ventures. He was going to be involved in some of the things that I'm doing with another guy. And basically, me and the other guy sat him down and said, "Listen, we've been tiptoeing around you for a while. This is what we believe." And we broke down a lot of stuff for him. And he was like, "Listen, I see where you guys are going, and I understand the points you're making. And to a certain extent, I think I agree with you on a lot. I don't know how much or to what degree I agree with you guys on, but either way, I can't follow you guys down this road because my family is more important to me, and they will absolutely disown me and never speak to me again if I believe some of the things that you guys are saying." Which, so that was unfortunate. I haven't really talked to him a whole lot since then.
My goodness. Let me ask you something. How do you think his family's reaction would be if he said that he was homosexual?
It would be no, it would be the same thing. If it
It
would
would
be
be okay.
just as bad.
Okay, good, good. You see where I was going with that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like, super hardcore, like, I mean, it was kind of funny. I've known him for a while now, which makes it sad that we've kind of drifted apart a little bit, probably because of this issue. But he's brought around several, or he's been talking to several girls that, like, literally, like, were Amish, like, not like full Amish, but like came from that sort of background, highly legalistic. And he kept, he was talking to me about the girls he was talking to. I was like, man, like, how is, like, every girl you find part of this, like, super strict family? Like, the one of the girl's dads, like, made him sign a contract, or was trying to get him to sign a contract that said that he would make his daughter wear a head covering everywhere they went. And he's like, I
Based.
don't believe that. He doesn't believe that, though, and so he didn't sign it. And um, the dad basically cut off all communication. Like, but that's just like every single girl he finds is kind of like that, as far as I know. So
Interesting.
I just thought it, like, that's the kind of family background he has. Like, part of the way he was meeting these girls was through his family and connections and stuff.
So is he fundamental Baptist?
No,
Okay,
no,
fair
like,
enough.
that's the thing. I'm pretty sure they're just like non-denominational regular Baptists, but they're just like super hardcore
Or
about
Calvary
it.
Chapel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, we can see how it's affected everything and our entire world. And our entire worldview has been shaped by it, whether we choose to admit it or not. Even if you don't believe in it, even if you're not a Christian, you weren't raised in a Christian home. It's your life has been affected by it if you live in America right now. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think I've had one point kind of lingering in the back of my head ever since we talked about it, and I want to touch on that right before we move on to the other thing that we were going to talk about. And it was just about, you talked about how there's AI videos that are super realistic. I know we're going way back in time.
No,
Um,
you're good.
but I just wanted to say they do have programs that, like, I don't know exactly how they do it. I could probably take a good guess. They have ways of determining. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, my screen blacked out for a second. I was like, "Oh, shoot."
Odd. No,
Um,
yeah, I've seen those. That they detect that it's AI.
yeah, like, there's just weird things AI does with coloring that they can detect it's not natural by the gradient of it or something. Like, they can
Okay.
detect, like how we were talking before we went live, hexadecimal colors. They look at the mathematics of those colors and basically can detect anomalies that essentially appear to the screen like static that wouldn't otherwise be in, like, a natural video. But
Right.
I'm sure they're working on programs that can get around that for sure.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen the websites that can detect that stuff. I really wasn't sure how they went about doing it, but as you described, what was it, hexagram? What do you call it?
Hexadecimal.
hexadecimal. As you explained that before we started recording, that kind of does, it makes sense.
Yeah, so every pixel has like a color, and so they basically can look at mathematically the colors of the pixels on the screen and detect weird mathematical patterns and anomalies. Because
Like a tree
most
wouldn't do that.
like a
Like
what?
like a picture of a tree wouldn't have that. It would have a gradient pattern of each pixel.
Yeah, the pattern would look a little bit more like static because it's like truly random, whereas like AI generated is not random; it's machine.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be weird, like it would select like one certain color of blue to keep using in different areas or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, anyways, so we wanted to talk about getting active and doing things, joining IRL groups, and basically what can we as common people without millions of dollars, what can we be doing to sort of be moving the ball down the field and forming that critical mass? Um, so I know you wanted to talk about this. Did you have anywhere you wanted to start?
No. Really. I guess I've been wanting to be part of an active club or get involved in something. I just haven't really found the right fit for me at the moment. And I know, outside of my area, more up north, I do see a lot more, I guess, clubs and things like that that seem more appealing to what I'm looking for. Most of the things that I found around here is not really the niche, I guess, that I'm kind of seeking. Um, but at the same time, what would be stopping any of us from starting our own? I guess you would say, because you have experience with this stuff, and how would you say one would go about maybe getting something like that going, from scratch?
So yeah, there's like you made a good point about the niche thing, and this is actually something that in the circles that I've been in that is very widely recognized. Like, there's definitely certain groups that are exclusive. They don't, and there's definitely certain groups that other groups won't like associate with. The one guy calls it cross pollination. They don't want cross pollination with various groups. But yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it right now is, I was talking to Winter Bob about this too. That right now the important thing that we need to be doing is meeting people who think like us, and just building relationships, building friendships and trust with people, because it's only through these connections that we can really be able to figure out where can we be useful. Because like, I mean, obviously there's a way to be useful on your own. Like, we're making these podcasts, we're making these videos, this is sort of like an independent thing, but it's through these groups that you can meet a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that can introduce you to somebody who can really help you out. And I think that's one of the primary advantages to these groups, besides their particular purpose. So yeah, I'm in an active club, and for my particular needs, that's helped me lose a lot of weight. And a lot of active clubs, like, you don't have to have a fitness standard or anything to join. They just the standard for them is that you basically need to be working towards losing weight. You need, or gaining weight if that's what you need. Um, and showing up to meets and boxing them, learning how to fight, that's like their thing. So I've gotten a lot of personal benefit out of that. They've helped me lose a lot of weight, and boxing those guys, I feel much more comfortable doing that stuff now. It's really great. I feel like I'm much more capable and confident in myself, being able to handle situations. Um, and then there's another group that I was in that they there wasn't a whole lot necessarily to offer me, but I was put into a leadership position, and I therefore had to speak a bunch in front of the group. I had to lead the ongoings of the club, and that gave me a lot of experience public speaking in front of people, like on a stage kind of thing. Not a literal stage, but with the spotlight on me. That was definitely nerve-wracking the first few times that I did it, but I got used to it. And then yeah, there's all sorts of things, like Nova, for example. I mentioned I'm now officially a part of that, and they're
Sweet.
building community. they're building community. They are helping families, that are like, they are also in networking, that are very focused on networking, introducing people to other people, business oriented. If you own a business and you have a like mindset, they want to help you out or connect you with people who can help you out. Um, and then, yeah, do you want to comment on any of that before I keep going?
No, you're good.
And then, yeah, to address what you said about starting something, I mean, obviously um, you need a couple people, right? You need more than just yourself to start something, because it's kind of like an interesting, it's just like a weird thing to say, like, I'm starting this club by myself and then going around and finding random people. You do
Right,
have to
right.
kind of know people in your immediate friends group who do these things, or you just join a nationalist group, and that's there's kind of a fear that comes with joining groups, and I I had that fear a little bit at first, but as I've come to interact with the people in these groups, I find that all of these people are in the groups for the same reasons that you want to be in the group. They're all working towards the same thing. And while there might be some hot personalities and rough people you have to deal with at times, for the most part, we're all pushing in the same direction. We're all wanting the same thing. And so you'll find that they're very friendly. They are very aware that people are cautious about joining up with them. They're very aware that it's like a weird thing to get into. And so, I mean, for the most part, they're very friendly, very welcoming. Um, unless, of course, you don't line up with them ideologically, which they're still friendly, but they're just not going to let you in the group, and that's as simple as it gets. Like, if you don't meet their standards, if they disagree with you on something that's fundamental to them, they just won't have you part of the group. And it'll be like, I'm sorry, you wanted to do this, but um, this just won't work out because you have different fundamental worldviews.
Sure.
Um, So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things popping up now. You have that old Glory Club. I don't know much about them. I know one guy who's in it, and he has very positive things to say about them. Um, they seem like a solid group, although I don't know if they're as far as I have my opinions of. But I don't know them. I don't know. They could be just very good optically. Um, Of course, there's local nationalist groups, pure nationalist groups. For example, in Ohio, there's that Ohio Nationalist Network. They're not really formally associated with anything else, but they're their own thing. But that was sort of born out of the active club scene. Um, so yeah, any questions so far?
No.
I mean, that's about my little spiel right there. Is I think that's for guys like us, that's one of the better things that we can be doing is finding people, getting to know them, letting them help you, you helping them wherever it's mutually beneficial. Um, and yeah, I guess I don't have too much more than that to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was guessing from a lot of what you said. Um, it is kind of nice to know that they do are self-aware that people joining is like, I don't know. Like, it is kind of an odd thing, and people are hesitant. So it's good to hear from an insider, I guess you'd say, speaking to an outsider, that realizes that, yeah, okay, they do sense that it's an odd thing. So that's good to hear. Um, just
Well,
real. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say on that point real quick. Um, yeah, they understand like it's a very niche political worldview, and it's even more niche to want to do something in real life about it. And so, in order to even get people in the door, they can't be like um, scary, mean, like assholes about it.
Right. Yeah. They would be kind of defeat the purpose.
Exactly. So, were you going to say something else?
No, not really. That's kind of my thinking on it. I'm still mulling over. I've been looking into a few ones that are, I mean, not even local, just somewhat local. So that right there for me draws a issue with, I live in a big state, so things are very, very spread out. So dedicating the time to be able to drive that far and all that stuff is, something to think about. That's why I have thought, like, what could I do to maybe get not, I guess, like an active club that could turn into maybe an active club in the future. But just like you said, I liked what you pointed out with just becoming friends with these people that are like minded, growing and gaining their trust is what you said that kind of really stuck out to me. And, we've all got groups of people, as the listeners are hearing this, we've all got groups of people that we do live around, that are friends. And I'm sure a lot of them have your views, or they wouldn't be friends with you, or if they don't have your views, they're at least sympathetic to your views and are willing to put up with it. And maybe you can convince them of your views, type of deal. And just gaining that trust with a group of guys to possibly get something going. That's pretty good advice right there, Alt.
Yeah, well, you'll meet somebody along the way whose uncle's in politics or who owns a business who thinks like you guys do, and like, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I've made a lot of connections doing the stuff that I have, and I'm grateful for those connections. Um, but yeah, like I would definitely recommend, like, you can even reach out to some of these groups that you think are far away and just ask them, do you guys know of anything that's in my area? Like, you know, Telegram is a great place to look. Texas Nationalists. I don't even know if that's a group, but you could just search that on Telegram. You might find something. And if it looks legit, just message their vetting bot, message their vetting guy, and just be like, hey, like I have nationalist views. I want to get involved in doing something. Because I know some of the groups have been like ecumenical to the point, like on their main page, they'll say this is a list of our chapters and their locations. And then at the bottom it says if none of these locations are near you, consider joining this other group that's not even affiliated with them necessarily. So yeah, there's definitely a mindset in the sphere right now where people are just, we don't care how you do it, we don't care what you join, we don't care how you go about it. Just join someone, join something, and start making the connections. And maybe you find out that the first one isn't a fit for you. You say, hey, I thought this was something else. You just say, is I like what you guys are doing, but I'm not going to be part of it. um so yeah, I guess I really like the active club mindset. I really like their ethos, their style, and I think they're a very good entry point, and I keep boosting them all the time because literally these guys, they're not out there doing marches, they're not out there doing stupid stuff. Like, they are just working out. Like, when they call it an active club, like, that really is what it is. Like, they are just guys being active. It's just the only guys who can be in the club are guys that think like them. But they're not encouraging anybody to do anything stupid. They're not encouraging anyone to go out and do anything that would get them in legal trouble at all. um, it is really like a self-improvement, development mindset that I really appreciate. And um, maybe you'll meet another guy in that group who is part of something else that you would be more interested in participating in. But that really is the name of the game right now, is just figuring out where do you fit in, and just doing it. And sometimes that takes just getting online, getting on X, getting on Telegram, and just trying to search for things that are in your area. um, Yeah, and I can even use my connections that I have. Like, if anybody is hopefully this doesn't open up a flood of DMs for me. If anybody is wanting to know where they can get involved, what they can be doing, just DM me, and I will use my connections to figure out what is the closest group that that I approve of, what is closest to you, and we can maybe get you set up.
Heck yeah, do it. And you've sent me a couple things, and like I said, I'm doing some stuff behind the scenes, maybe looking into it. So haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it is definitely there, you know.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there's no harm in just reaching out to those guys that I sent you, just being like, "Hey, you guys are a far drive from me, I think. Like, is there anything closer? Do you recommend being part of some other thing that isn't what you guys are, that's in my area?"
Hmm.
Just thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's good advice.
Yeah, so I think that that'll probably about wrap it up, unless you have something else.
No, I don't, man. I sure do appreciate you having me on here, man. It's been a really good conversation. I've enjoyed this.
Of course, me too. I think we got into a lot of important things. This has been a good episode.
It has been, man. I sure do appreciate it, guys. Go give this guy a follow. Give me a follow too.
Yes, give us a follow, and also go visit Mr. Nationalist. I'll put his Twitter
Yes.
handle in my description. He's
Yes.
been a guy that has been pretty good at promoting our guys. He's
Pretty good.
focusing.
He's hugely good.
Yes,
Bigly.
hugely good,
Bigly good.
bigly. Um, yeah, go to his page. He's promoting a lot of our guys. He's pushing them to the forefront. He's acting like an amplifier and a megaphone, and he's doing a lot of good stuff for us. So if you want to know who to follow, go follow him first, and he'll let you know who to follow.
For sure.
Um, so yeah, it was great having you on, TB. It was definitely something we should do again.
For sure.
Hopefully we can do another collab with you and Mainstream and Winter Bob again.
That was
That
fun.
was that was fun, and um, we can hope you don't get Helen Kellered again.
Yeah, I didn't get Helen Keller for that one. Bob got put on ice, but I got to speak that time, so that was fun.
Put on ice, yeah. All right. Well, I thank you guys for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Like he said, follow me on X. That's probably the best place to do it, where I'm going to be announcing things and definitely more active saying things on there than I am posting to YouTube. Um, so, yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your week, good rest of your day, and I will see you next time.